Hey, what's up, guys? Mike's here. Today, we're gonna do another chapter of Shut Up and Dance with Me. And yes, you can see me here. It's all lightning because I used the phone right here. I used that one as a flashlight, but you could still see me right here. And you can see a little digitally, but you can see a little clearly. But that's a bit so different because it's not even like a clear television. It's not clear like video right here, but so we could start reading now our chapter 4. So hope you guys ready because it's going to be awesome. It starts to get a little better, but no way to. Alright, let's do this, guys.
If you change your mind, take a chance. I'm the first in line. Honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. If you need me.
How much lasagna did you say you made? Like enough to feed a whole family. And he ate half of that? Yup. And now he's on a tub of ice cream. Yep, good thing. I just went grocery shopping. Though if we don't stop him, we may need to go replenish our ice cream stock soon. On the normal circumstances, I will fight him for that ice cream. But I'm not willing to get between him and that tub. Yeah, me neither, to be honest. He may only have a spoon, but I don't trust it. Maybe he'll tire himself out eventually. You know, like a food coma. I've never known him to hold scalp this long before. Do you think his face will get stuck like that? Oh man, I hope not. It's gonna be taking a lot of his energy to keep it up though. That's probably how he can manage to eat so much. Where does he even go? He's like a beanpole. I'm kinda worried, Pitch. If he keeps this up, I just know he's gonna get sick. I'll rock, paper, scissors, you fool. Who has to go take that from him? No way, I'm not taking that chance. What we need is a replacement so it can keep up his anger munchies, but not make himself sick of that ice cream. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. What do you suggest? Popcorn? Alright, yeah, that's good. Good plan. But should we, like, ask him first, or start popping it and see if he comes around? Yeah, let's just start popping it. I've never known him to turn down popcorn. I'm not sure he answers us right now. Anyway, kinda looks like he's in a weird comatose state. Is it possible to even be in an angry coma? I don't think it's all anger. I think half of it is embarrassment and disappointment and repressed feelings. I can hear you, you know. Lance says, turning his head to glare at his friends. He's sitting on the couch, knees pulled up to his chest, with a tub of good old Rocky Road resting on them. His words are slurred slightly by the spoon in his mouth. Hunk and Pitch both jump, turning to stare at him eyes wide. Oh, hey buddy. How you doing? Hunk says, but the last of his question is drowned out by Pitch's loud and dramatic declaration. He lives! And they throw their heads up, fingers curling. Lance continues to glare at them, spoon in his mouth. When they don't get a reaction, Pitch sighs, hopping off the counter where they have been sitting and moving toward the living room of the apartment. How do you feel about popcorn, Lance? Hunk asked from the kitchen. But Lance can already hear him rummaging through the pantry. Will we cater butter? Is there other any kind? I guess that's fine then. He grumbles begrudgingly, pulling the spoonful in his mouth and staring at the ice cream. He doesn't really want more, but it's right there, so I might as well. Oh no you don't, Pitch says, reaching out to snatch the tub from the precarious perch on his knees. Lance makes a wordless, pitiful sound of protest, reaching out to grab it back. Pitch slaps his hand away and holds out their hand. Spoon. Métetelo por el culo, he mumbles as he reluctantly hands them the spoon. Pitch snores as they walk away. I heard that. Doesn't mean you understand it. Except I do. You took German in school? He snaps, crossing his arms over his chest, shoulders raising to his ears. Pitch waves the spoon over their shoulder as they near the kitchen. I picked up a few things after being friends with you for so long. Chingate. Que te la pic un polo. They replied smoothly, despite their terrible accent and choppy pronunciation. Lance gasped at them as they put the ice cream back in the freezer. Hunk lets out a burst of surprised laughter, throwing his head back as he pulls the box of popcorn bags from the pantry. Pidge! He tries to sound chastising, but it doesn't quite work. You need to stop talking to Sophie! Lance snaps. Pidge tosses a spoon in the sink and grins at him. No way! Sophie's the best. She teaches me things that are actually relevant. How is that relevant? Pidge shrugs. It was useful, wasn't it? Lab pups turn away from them both, staring at the blank TV instead. The couch in Pidge and Hunk's apartment is a corner couch that they got cheap from Hunk's parents. One edge is pressed against the wall, while the other matches back to the small area designated as the dining room, complete with a small table. Before giving away to the bar counter that separates the dining room from the kitchen, Lance sits in the corner of the L-shaped couch, knees pulled up to his chest. He rests his crossed arms over top them in position of his forearms. Pidge plops down on one side of the couch, leaning their back against the arm and the back cushion and stretching their legs out along the leg, one knee bent. They're staring at Lance, but he's pointedly refusing to look at them. A silence stretches between them. One popcorn bag or two? Hunk asks. Two, both Lance and Pidge say at the same time. There's a hum from the kitchen. Right. The silence is back, and it's starting to get under his skin. Pidge hasn't even taken their phone out. They're just staring at them. He knows they want to talk about what happened earlier at the park. He knows they both do. One moment they have been dancing, and the next Keith had stormed off and Lance was mopping. Not even dancing could pull him out of it. Pidge had even tried putting on more Shakira, and Hunk had tried Nicki Minaj. Lance had been uncharacteristically silent for the whole ride back to their apartment, and throughout the preparation of dinner, he knew he was just making it worse for himself. He had known that his friends would pick up on it and corner him later, but couldn't quite help it. When he needs to wallow, he needs to wallow. And he knows the moment he's been dreading is here, but he refuses to heed first. Unfortunately, so is Pidge. They end up sitting like that for several long minutes, while Lance tries not to visibly fidget, all the while listening to the microwave hum and beep in the background. Then Hunk is there, plopping down on the other side of Lance and handing him a bowl of popcorn. He takes it gratefully, unfurling from his position to sit cross-legged with the bowl on his lap. The crunch of popcorn, warm and salty, is exactly what he needed after all that ice cream. He chews loudly to fill the silence. So, Hunk says slowly, conversationally. He props both feet up on the coffee table and settles his own bowl on his lap. Wanna talk about it? Lance scowls down at the bowl on his lap. No. Hunk leans over, nudging him with his own shoulder. Come on, Lance. Lance lifts his chin, casually tossing back a few pieces of popcorn. I'm sorry, Hunk. I can't hear over the sound of complete and utter betrayal. With this, he shoots and asks to look at Pidge. They roll their eyes and their head, rolling it back along the couch cushion. Lance, they groan. Hunk, did you hear something? He says, turning away from Pidge, putting his hand to his ear and leaning toward them a fraction. Dude, Hunk says flatly. There's probably a warning there for him to cut his, but he ignores it. It must be a ghost, because that is definitely the voice of someone who's dead to me. Lance! Pidge groans again. He looks at them and meets their bright amber gaze. Their brow is knit in the middle, and their lips are scrunched up in such a way that they seem to find the words they're trying to say to be actually painful. I'm sorry, okay? Lance continues to stare, but his eyes narrow. Pidge waves a hand in the air aimlessly. I'm sorry I didn't tell you I know Keith. I didn't think it would be this big of a deal. I still don't really get why it's such a big deal. I should have told you sooner. Lance nods, looking down to the ball and said, you should have. To be fair though, I didn't realize that mullet head Keith you were complaining about was my childhood friend, Keith. Lance nods, rolling his eyes. How many Keiths do you think there are? And how many of them have mullets? Lance waves at the back of his neck for emphasis. Pidge shrugs. I never really thought of it as a mullet. Pidge, it's totally a mullet. Yeah. Okay. I can kind of see it now. But it suits him. Lance isn't about to agree with that. They can't exactly not either. So, stay silent. Anyway, I didn't really think about it. I just saw it as you being you and challenging a guy you barely knew but admired. I don't admire him. To a dance contest at auditions. It's not exactly out of character for you. Hunk told me he was some guy you guys were in class with last year that you were totally obsessed with. Hunk, you were, dude. It was not. But I didn't really connect him to my Keith until I saw his name on the sign-ups for auditions. You should have told me then. Bishop's again. I didn't think it was a big deal. It was right before auditions, and I thought it would distract you. Hunk told me to wait until after auditions. Lance whips his head around to look at his best friend for nearly 8 years. Hunk? He gazes at them, and at least he has the decency to look abashed. He busies himself by shoving the popcorn in his bowl. But he won't met Lance's eyes. Look, we both know how you get. You would have been even more obsessed and trying to learn about his weakness or something from Pidge. And you would have been so wrapped up in knowing that Pidge is friends with your enemy that might, you know, distract you from doing your best at auditions. Right. So maybe Lance feels a little bad now. His friends were only looking out for him. Yeah, he has a tendency to get a little obsessive and a little distracted. And it might have affected his performance. Not that it mattered in the end anyway. Lance sighs, reaching out to pat Hunk's arm. Thanks, man, he says softly, giving Hunk a small smile. He returns him. We were only trying to look out for you, man. Okay, but that doesn't mean explain why you didn't tell me after, he says, pointedly, swinging his gaze back around to Pidge. They jump a little at his sudden swing back to a sharp tone. He sees their face crunch up defensively as they sat up straighter. I didn't think it mattered. It was over. You didn't get in. You were mopping and upset that you hadn't made it, and Keith had. And I didn't want you to rub salt on that one and make it worse. What about after Shiro said? Pidge throws their hands up in the air with an exasperated groan. It all happened so fast. One day, you missed auditions. The next, Shiro suggests doing Keith. That night, you mope around at our apartment. Next day, we try to cheer you up with some street dancing. When exactly did I have time to bring it up and not send you back into another mope spiral? Anytime before I found out in front of him would have been nice. It's not my fault you freaked out when you found out. Pidge, you're supposed to be my friend. I am. As your friend, I had to admit, your reaction was hilarious. Pidge, what's the big deal? You always embarrass yourself and you always bounce back. Yeah, but this is different. This was Keith. Pidge's expression changed then. They did look like they'd got a glimpse of gold, and Lance really doesn't like the look they're giving him. They tilt their chin down, looking up at Lance with a small smirk, tugging at the corner of their lips. What's so special about Keith, Lance? Lance presses his lips together, eyes widening as he tries to keep his face neutral and fight down the heat that's rising up his neck. He knows it's a losing battle, so he scowls down the bowling stack. Nothing. He's the worst. To avoid talking further, he shoved a handful of popcorn in his mouth. Sure he is. You know, this wouldn't be such a big deal if we just pitch, Hunk cuts in. And when Lance glances up at him, he can see Hunk frowning at Pitch. Hunk is his hero. They sigh and cross their arms over their chests, sinking further in the couch as they scowl at the Cockatiel. Right. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't tell you earlier, okay? I didn't think it would affect you this much. Lance glanced up at them and honestly looked apologetic. He feels the scowl fade in his eyes, relief. He hadn't realized how much tension had been in his body until he relaxes, sinking back against the couch. Thanks, Pitch. They relaxed too. And then the corner of their lips switched upward. The risk I took was calculated, but man, my bad at math. Lance throws back his head and laughs, and Pidge's smirk widens. Pidge, do you really think that I'll forgive you just because you're mean in your apology? He asked, looking at them and unable to smother his grin. Pidge shrugs, still smiling. It was worth a shot, so, do you forgive me? Lance makes a show of humming in consideration, tapping his chin with a finger and looking up at the ceiling. I don't know. Pidge rolls their eyes, stretching out their leg to keep his thigh with her foot. Lance, come on! He laughs, dropping his hand to pat their leg. Yeah. Forgive you. Good. And a smile on their face is genuine. Hunk sighs, tilting his head back against the couch cushion. Thank God it was over. I hate it when you guys fight. Lance says, we weren't fighting. Hunk shrugs, reaching for the tea remote. Close enough? Pidge nudges at Lance's thigh with their toes. Now that we're good, have some of that popcorn. Lance raised an eyebrow. Why didn't you reach for it earlier? And risk you biting my hand off? I don't think so. Lance passes them his bowl, and they settle it on their stomach as Lance leans into Hunk, reaching for his bowl before shoving his face with more popcorn. Hunk's got the Xbox controller in his hand and is pulling up Netflix. Several moments pass as they scroll through the options before he speaks. Now that that's over, wanna talk about what's got you in this mood? I'm not in the mood, Lance grumbles, hunching his shoulders slightly as he leans against Hunk's arm. His protest sounds weak even to him. Pidge snorts, waving a couple pieces of popcorn around the air. Yeah, that's why you've been angry eating ever since we got back from the park. Lance shoots them a glare, but doesn't say anything. He knows there's nothing he can say because they're right. Eating just makes him feel better. Okay? And it's something he can put his energy into. This has to do with Keith, doesn't it? He prompts. Hunk prompts. He's idly scrolling through things on Netflix, but none of them are really paying attention. Lance knows he's not going to pick something until they had this talk. Lance sighs. Yeah, it does, he admits, taking the popcorn bowl from Hunk's lap and sitting it straight again. He pulls his knees up, cradling the bowl between his knees and his chest. He doesn't look at either of his friends. I wasn't expecting to see him there. He blindsided me. He says it like he meant to do it. Like it's his fault. And he caught Lance off guard on purpose. Like it's his fault that Lance was so completely floored by seeing all those fucking soft expressions and smiles. What did he want? Hunk asked. Lance raised an eyebrow, glancing up at him. He didn't tell you? Hunk shook his head. Nah, we just got introduced and talked to him a bit about dancing and what we were doing and stuff. Then our song came on, he says, and we wanted to see if we still remember it. And we did. Of course we did. Up top. Hunk leans over Lance, hold up a hand. Pitch sits up and leans forward to clap his hand with theirs. Hunk leans back to his original position, but Pitch shifts. scooting closer to Lance and turning to lean their back against his arm and shoulder. Then, when we got back, Kate was gone and you were mopping on the bench, Pidge finishes, shoving popcorn in their mouth and speaking around it. So, what happened? Lance groans, long, loud, and wordless. Hunk pats his arm. Come on, buddy. The sooner you tell us, the better. For all of us, Pidge adds. Lance hops in feet. Well, Mr. High and Mighty decides to show up and tell me about how Shiro wanted him to talk to me about dancing together for auditions. He tries to sound indifferent, offended, maybe even a little angry, but he can't help the grumpy defeat that's layering his voice. That's good, isn't it? Hunk says, perking up, looks between the two of them smiling. This gives you another chance to get to regionals, right, Lance? Lance refuses to look at him. His head slouching a little more. He wants to find a way to get the couch to absorb him. Just kind of disappear into it. It's a pretty comfortable couch. It's been his bed on many occasions. Surely a lot of time being stuck in a couch void wouldn't be too bad. Right, Lance? Hunk repeats after a moment, but his mouth has dropped and his tone has become worried. He winces and curls a little in on himself, hunching over the popcorn bowl as he picks through it. He can feel the gazes of both his friends on him. He wanted to talk about doing. Plans? Pidge's voice is pitched low. They sat up straight, turning so they can reach out and grab Lance's face with both hands. Lance tries to jerk away, but their grip is surprisingly strong. They force him to meet their gaze. He tries to look casual and confident and totally not guilty or scared. Pidge searches his eyes for a moment before their own gaze narrows. You said yes, didn't you? Oh no. That's their warning voice. Lance wins out and reflects, looking anywhere but at Pidge's face. He bites his bottom lip. Lance? That's Hunk's warning voice. It isn't fair when they gang up on him like this. A small whimper escapes his lips. Did he offer to do it with you? And you ducked and told him no? Pidge pressed further, still not letting go of his face. No, Lance says slowly. Not exactly? Pidge's glare sharpens. What happened? He may not have gotten a chance to ask at all? Hunk groans. Lance, what did you do? Did you piss him off and make him storm off? Pidge is shouting now, scowling at him while they smoosh his cheeks together until it hurts. Ow! 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 Pidge! Lance snaps their hands away, taking them by the wrist to push them off. He meets Pidge's glare. Tell us what happened, they demand. And so Lance tells them. He tells them everything they can remember, which merely is basically the whole conversation he had with Keith. He's been thinking about it ever since he watched Keith walk away. It's been on repeat on his head, so remembers pretty much everything. All the moments he wishes he could change, all things he wishes he could say differently. He knows he f***ed up, and he also knows there's nothing he can do to change it. When he's done, he waits, but his friends are silent. The seconds tick by, expanding, filling the room. Lance feels that itch under his skin again, and tries to distract himself with it by eating more popcorn, loudly and obnoxiously. Pidge is the first to break the silence. Lance? Hunk isn't far behind him. Dude? Seriously? Lance? Please? There's exasperation in their voices. That and pity. And probably a little frustration as well. But nothing about them speaks of surprise. They're disappointed. That much is obvious. But are they surprised? Nope, not at all. And Lance likes to believe there's a little edge of fondness mixed in with that exasperation that he's so familiar with. may have overreacted a bit, he admitted slowly. Pidge nods. You think? No wonder he left. I have left too. In his shoes, Honk says. He's getting up pretending to scroll through Netflix. Instead, his head sits back on the couch cushion, one hand pinching the bridge of his nose. Pidge is back to leaning against his side, seeming drained of all energy. Stay upright. It sounds like he was trying to ask you to do it, Pidge asked, raising a brow as they tilted their head back to look up at him. Lance groans. I know. I fucked up. Okay? I admit it, but there's nothing I can do now. He frowns at his knees. Besides, I wasn't wrong. He was an ass yesterday, and he should have apologized. Sounds like it didn't exactly give him time to before you started being an ass. No one asked you, Pidge. Maybe you should go apologize. Now, Honk suggested. Lance whipped his head around, holding it back as his lip curled. Honk, whose side are you on? Honk is giving a flat look. The side that gets you to regionals, man? And that side is Keith, whether you want to admit it or not. Shiro was right when he said the best way for you both to go is to work together and audition as a duo. He has a point there. Lance backtracks a little, mentally flailing as he tries to find something to cling to. Okay, alright. So I admit that Shiro has a point, and it would be nice if we could get along. But the fact remains that we don't. You just have to get along well enough to dance together. I don't know if that's possible. Maybe if you sucked it up and stopped acting like a dick, Pidge says dryly. He started it, Lance steps, and you weren't helping. Get your gremlin self off of me. I don't want any of your sass, Lance says, pushing at Pidge to try to shove them away from him. They dead weight a little and push himself back against Lance's protest. Lance takes a particularly sharp elbow to the side and hisses in pain. Honk, get the little demon off me, he winces, falling over to lean against Honk's side, in much the same way Pidge is leaning against his. He tilts his head back, looking up at Honk with his best pout. Honk shakes his head. No can do, buddy. I agree with them. You were being a dick. He was obviously there to make amends, and he didn't exactly make it easy for him. Lance groans, throwing an arm over his face, using his other one to keep a steady hold in his popcorn bowl. Nobody loves me! Pidge shifts against him, adjusting until they are comfortable, using his whole side as pillow. He can feel the smudginess come off them in waves. I think the fact that we still hang out with you is proof that we do, Honk nods. You just need some tough love sometimes. Lance huffs loudly, trying to adjust himself so he's comfortable, but he gets another Pidge elbow in his side for his efforts. So, Honk starts. Lance groans. Can we please just drop it? Not gonna happen, Pidge says, resting their popcorn bowl on their stomach and tilting their head back against Lance's shoulder. Continue, Honk. So, Lance grows louder in an attempt to cut him off, but he continues speaking over Lance's wordless protest. Do you want to go to regionals? You know I do, he grumbles, still hiding his face beneath his arm. Then you should go and apologize, and beg him to give you a chance. What? Lance shifts his arm to glare up at Honk, wait for the moment when he admits it's a joke. Unfortunately, he's completely serious. Lance pouts. Honk, you're crazy! I can't do that! He raises an eyebrow, gazing steadily down at him. Why not? Because! Lance flails his arms around, making vague gestures. Pidge makes a grunt of annoyance as he jostles them. I've already embarrassed myself in front of him like so many times. He thinks I'm an idiot. And you're not? Pitch says. Lance scowls, reaching around them to clap his hand over their mouth, muffling their surprised squeak. Pitch claws at his hand, but he doesn't budge. He smirks a little in victory and rests his other arm on top of their head. As I was saying, he thinks I'm an idiot, and he made it very clear that he doesn't want to dance with me. Ah! Pitch! Gross! Pitch thoroughly licks his hand and he rips it away, thrumming loudly as he wipes his palm on their shoulder. Calm down, Beyonce, they say, tilting their head back against him so he can meet their gaze. He can't talk about doing, so obviously he was considering it. Lance glares at them, then glances away. He can feel his bottom lip stick out in the pouch as he adjusts popcorn bowl on his lap. He sinks further against Hunk's side, only because Shiro made him. Shiro can guilt you into anything. Oh man, it's true. He's got that dad voice that just makes you feel so guilty about disappointing him. Hunk says, shuddering slightly. Just thinking about it makes me want to bake him cookies tomorrow, just so he has no reason to be upset with me. Pitch nods. He's always been like that. Keith grew up with him, so he's a little immune. But you mean he can't hold out against Shiro for long. But speaking of Shiro, why did no one tell me he's Keith's brother? Lance cuts in, feeling his agitation rise. Not now, Lance, Hunk says, patting his head. He not just, but leans into the touch. He crosses his arms over his chest, careful not to knock over the bowl on his lap. Just another thing you guys kept from me. Pitch rolls their head against him. Oh my god, Lance. We already went over this. I'm sorry, okay? Let's move on. He sniffs dramatically. Easy for you to say. Anyway, Shiro may have made him go to the park, but the fact that he was there at all indicates that he has given it some thought. Doesn't matter now anyway, Lance gruffles. He already said he was going to find someone else to do it with. At that, Pitch sits up, putting their back to the couch and giving Lance the blankest, flattest, most unamused stare he's ever seen. His brow furrows. What? Pitch sighs, closing their eyes and raising a hand to rub their eyes beneath their glasses. Then they turn, sitting cross-legged and sideways on the couch to busy. They adjust their glasses on their nose, and then lean forward, resting their elbows on their knees. With their popcorn bowl still cradled on their lap, they press both hands together. Breathing deeply, they exhale and point their hands at him. Boy, let me tell you something about Keith. Is it his deepest, darkest, most embarrassing secret? Because if not, I don't want to hear it. Pitch snaps his leg. Shut up for just a second and listen. Lance does just that. Eyeing Pitch warily, he has to admit he might be a little curious. Keith is terrible with human interaction. There's a reason he just goes to the academy, does his thing, and instantly leaves. We've been friends for years, and I hadn't even hung out with him there. So? Pitch rolls their eyes. So, he will literally not find anyone else. He doesn't know anyone else at Altea. And if left to his own devices, he would rather not to go regionals than approach someone random about this. Agreeing to audition as a solo dancer was one thing, but actually finding someone to do it with? Nuh-uh, not gonna happen. There's a reason Shiro basically dumped you guys in each other's laps. Lance looks away, firmly holding onto his pouch. Shiro will probably just find him someone else to dance with, he says, shooting for sounding offhanded, but he doesn't quite pull it off. He can feel his determination crumbling. He really wants to go to regionals. Pidge waves him off, a small smirk forming at the corners of their lips, like they can't just smell their imminent victory. There isn't anyone else who can keep up with him in his choreography. She wasn't lying when he said you were one of the only people who's quick enough to study to learn a dance in 2 weeks. A week and a half by now, Hunk adds. Gee, thanks, Hunk, says Flatly. Anytime, buddy. He pats Lance's hand. You're good, Lance, and you're the only one who can keep up with him. Lance feels a smile tugging his lips. His eyes pitch sideways. Was that a compliment, Pidge? They roll their eyes. Don't let it go to your head. Too late, sounds Lance. Even if he does find someone as good as you to duo with, he won't. He doesn't care enough about it to dance with someone just to get to regionals. Lance's smile fades. Then why would he dance with me? Pidge's smirk is firmly in place. Because he can't turn down challenge. And you have already challenged him. He won't admit it, but he wants to prove it to you that he can do this. And I think you want to impress him too. I don't even try to deny it, dude, Hunk says. We can see it right through you. Lance snaps his mouth shut and glares up at his friend. I guarantee if you go and apologize to him, he'll agree to duel with you. Then boom! Hunk claps his hands together, making both Lance and Pidge jump. The 4 of us are going to regionals, road tripping and all hanging out, and a new friend. Whoa! Lance cuts him off, pushing himself up so he's sitting up straighter, and he can turn to glare at Hunk. Who said anything about being friends with Keith? Hunk gives him a blank look, one eyebrow raised. Dude, you've been obsessed with him for weeks. If you end up dueling with him, he's obviously going to end up being one of our friends. He's already friends with Pidge. That's 1/3 of us right there. Lance scowls and opens his mouth to retort, to say that he never wants to be his friends with you. Friendly rivals maybe, but not friends. Not sleepovers and movie night and hanging out kind of friends. He doesn't want to hang out with Keith, right? Of course he doesn't. Keith wouldn't want to hang out with him either. He's sure of that. Ford can voice his opinions. However, Pidge cuts him off. Hunk, don't scare him away from Keith. We just got him this far. Hunk smiles sheepishly. Sorry. Looks to Lance. So, will you do it? Apologize to Keith and ask him to duel with you? They're both staring at him expectantly. Looks between them, scowling. He's conflicted. Yes, he wants to go to regionals. And if he's being honest, he wants to dance with Keith too. But the thought of facing Keith after everything that's happened, it's mortifying. And Keith was a dick, but he was a dick too. He knows he's going to give in. He knows he's going to cave. He knows he's going to have to swallow his pride and apologize to Keith. But can at least drag it out to make his friends suffer. But in it sounds, Pidge leans forward, glint in their eyes as a smile slowly spreads their lips. If change your mind, they start softly, before slowly getting louder. He's the first in line, they're singing. In Lance's eyes, when they realize what's happening, throws back his head and laughs. Pidge, no! Stop! Hunk leans toward him on the other side. In a low voice, he sings the background vocals. Take a chance, take a chance, take a chance, take a chance, take a chance. Honey, he's still free. Take a chance on him. That doesn't fit with the rhyme no more. If you don't need him, let him know. Gonna be around. If you got no place to go, you're feeling down. Alright, I'll do it, Lance says, laughing as he presses his hands to his friends' faces, pushing them both back from where they had leaned way too far into his personal space. My god, you guys are the worst singers. Stick to dancing. Paige leans back, hands on her ankles, grinning. Rude. We'll forgive you, though, since you agreed to apologize to Keith. Paige asks. You just got double-teamed. They high-five again, in front of Lance, and he swatted both their hands away. You guys are the worst. Hunk chuckles. Okay, seriously, man. You should go catch him work tomorrow. Lance looks at him, one eyebrows. Work? Yeah, he said he works at a local bookstore. Why can't I just see him at Altea? Hunk chuckles. He said he works all day tomorrow, so won't be at Altea. You want to get this sorted quickly, right? So you have more time to practice? Well, yeah, but Lance, Mitch says, giving him a stern look. You're going to his work tomorrow. I'll tell you where it is, but you're lucky we're not making you go tonight. Ugh. Glad to see you in our way, Mitch says, patting Lance's arm before flopping down across his and Hunk's lap. Now that that's settled, can we watch a movie already? I still have homework I need to get started on. Lance snorts, adjusting his popcorn bowl on top of Paige, next to theirs. We all know you're not going to sleep until like 3 AM anyway. True, but working through your problems tires me out. I need to change of pace. You make it sound like I'm a problem child. Hunk snorts. Lance, you'll always be our problem child. There's something arguing over what movie to pick, but they eventually settle on the 80s classic Flashdance. Pitch is firmly against it, complaining that they've watched that movie a million times already. Hunk doesn't care, and Lance knows it's because he actually enjoys it, though he does throw out the suggestion of dirty dancing. And if they're going for a dance classic, Pitch groans at that one too. Lance eventually wins because this is still his mopping day, and Flashdance is one of his childhood comfort movies. They talk through most of it. Lance and Hunk recite along several scenes, just to annoy and amuse Pitch. Lance and Pitch eventually have a contest for who can throw the most popcorn into Hunk's mouth. They lean against one edge of the couch, while Hunk goes to the opposite. Pitch wins, but Lance blames it on Hunk cheating. And of course, Lance performs the whole "He's a Dream" scene for his friends, complete with a chair he drags in from the dining room. He had this dance scene memorized since he was a kid. Him and his older sister, Nora, learned it together. When he reaches up to tug on the visible cord, Pitch comes up behind him and dumps popcorn kernels over his head. It's a good night, and keeps him from worrying about what he's going to say to Keith tomorrow. So, wow, this is pretty interesting here, and it might sums up to what Pidge and Hunk are trying to convey Lance here, because back then, all those chapters are way back, it's just felt really bad. But they are trying to help them. They didn't realize that Keith is his brother, and Pidge knows Keith that long. Keith is Shira's brother, and yeah, all that stuff. And Lance hadn't realized that then, by that fact. Pidge and Hunk are trying to help them to know when is that tap, and trying to talk to Lance once tried to talk to Keith and apologizing so that he can go back and being a duo. And that's where that everything just going forth there. So I would love that. Okay, see what's going to happen next. So it's very tight. I mean, this part of it is just so good. So really good. Keith shoves the book onto the shelf with a little more force than necessary. He's got one of his earbuds in one ear, the cord of which trails down through the neck of his work polo. He'd much rather have his bigger headphones. They're much more comfortable and better at blocking out the world, but they're way too big and not very professional. While he's stocking books or doing chores in the back, his managers don't care if he listens to music, as long as he's discreet, so he uses simple earbuds. King and Lionhearted plays in one ear, part of his chill playlist that Allura helped him make, just barely louder than the music that plays over the bookstore speakers. The general din of conversation is blurred and dull, surrounding him like a familiar blanket of white noise. The smell of coffee from the bookstore's small coffee shop fills his nose, mixing with the calming and pleasant scent of books and paper. He is going through the mindless motions of stocking books, straightening the shelves, and making sure everything is where it belongs. He hasn't had to deal with any customers today. They made the wrong coffee order earlier and the barista offered it to Key as he was walking by. He's been assigned stocking and back room work all day, which means he can listen to music and avoid people for the entirety of his shift. It's not a busy day, so the noise and the crowd around the shelves isn't bad. And the store isn't in that much disarray, so he can take his time fixing up the shelves without needing to rush. Overall, it's a pretty good day as far as work days go. The atmosphere is calm and soothing. His hands are kept busy without needing too much concentration. He doesn't have to deal with people, customers, or co-workers. But alright, he should be content at the easy money. But Keith still manages to find himself agitated, and he has nothing to do with work. There's a scowl permanently twisting his face. He can feel it. And that might be one of the reasons he hasn't been approached by a customer yet all day. He's shoving books onto the shelves with far too much force, which just means he had to adjust them again after the fact. And he's pretty sure he's stumping around the aisles. It's all because of Lance. Lance, with his stupid cocky smile and his smug ass voice. Lance and the way he has to turn everything into a competition or insult. Lance and the way he just sounds so arrogant all the time. Lance and the way he just manages to say all the wrong things. Lance and his incredible habit of sticking his foot in his mouth. Lance with his stupid bright ass smile that glowed in the afternoon sun. Lance with his loud and genuine laugh that wasn't at all pretty but still managed to make his chest tiny and his stomach flutter. Lance and his ability to make everyone around him smile. Lance and his incredibly welcoming energy, at least when it isn't discreet at Keith. Lance and his amazing talent for dancing. The way he always seems to feel the music and let his body just move without having to practice beforehand. It all gets under his skin like an itch he can't scratch. It makes him warm and flustered and angry whenever Lance opens his mouth. Whenever his attitude and whole demeanor changes whenever he's around him. He hates it. He's never done anything to him. He hasn't exactly been the nicest person, but it's usually only after Lance baits him into it. And yesterday, he had tried to be nice. He had tried to talk to him like Shiro and Allura had asked him to. But Lance was just Lance. There had been a moment when he had thought that maybe, just maybe, Lance might actually be civil. But that moment after the die when the whole duel thing had been brought up. He clenches his teeth just thinking about it, his jaw working. He accidentally knocks over the couple of books, which results in a whole line to suddenly be slouched over. He groans in frustration and texts toward fixing it. At one point, his music is interrupted by the sound of his ringtone, and he pulls his phone out of his pocket far enough to see the screen. It's Shiro, of course. The man had been calling and texting him nonstop since last night. He had told him that it hadn't worked out with Lance, so he isn't sure why his brother is being so insistent about this. Phone back in his pocket as his music starts up again. When he's done checking through the non-fiction section, he's already at the front of the store, so he decides to check over the main displays up front. He heads for the main aisle that leads from the front doors deeper into the store. There's a lot of bigger tables set up here, with displays of newer releases. He pauses at them, checking them over and making sure any books that we're taking on the big pyramid-like displays are replaced by some of the standby piles. When he's done with that, he picks up the top book from the standby piles that are just stacked around the display and opens it, propping it upright. The doors behind him open with a faint chime and a soft breeze of air rushing in. He firmly ignores it. It's not his job to greet customers. Well, sort of it, but he's not in the mood for it. Then a body brushes past him down the main aisle and he stiffens, catching sight of tan skin and soft brown hair. He feels the air catch in his breath. In a split second, it takes him to realize that it's just a girl. She's shorter than him, a lot younger. Then her hair is pulled back into a tiny ponytail. She's holding the hand of a boy, probably somewhere between 8 and 12. He isn't sure. He's with guessing ages. The kid is practically dragging her along. The strangely familiar bounce in his step. His skin is the same color as hers, and his hair, though also soft brown, and it's cut short and reminds him distinctly of... Nope. He's not thinking about Lance. Not today. Not ever again. God damn it. Yeah, he's been agitated all day, but he's been firmly not thinking about the source of his frustration. Yet, one look at a couple of Latino kids and his mind is already there again, dwelling on what it really shouldn't be dwelling on. This is supposed to be a nice, relaxing day at work. He's not going to ruin it by thinking about Lance, or auditions, or regionals, or Cheryl, and his ideas. He'd tear his eyes away from the kid retreating back with a jerk off his head. He turns sharply, intent on something away from the display to disappear back into the shelves. But then his hand hits something as he turns. He overcorrects when he jerks, and his hip bumps the table, and then suddenly the display pyramid books is crashing down. He stands there, staring at the books scattered around the table along with plastic bookends that kept them upright. He can feel heat creeping up his neck, and he just knows people are staring at him. He purses his lips scared, determined not to look around and make eye contact with anyone, fists clenching and unclenching. He sighs loudly, closing his eyes for a moment as he pinches the bridge of his nose. He hears a snort of barely contained laughter somewhere behind him. Great. Just great. Exactly what he needs. Then he sighs again, much softer and shorter, and full of defeat as he sets to work picking up the books and reorganizing them. Smooth, McMullet, smooth! A voice draws behind him. Keith stifles, freezing as his fingers curl around the book. His eyes run as a shiver runs down his spine because no. There's no way. He turns slowly, pivoting his hips so it can look behind him. He's careful to keep his face blank, but he can't help the way his chest tightens when he sees him. Sure enough, it's Lance, because the universe doesn't hate him enough for it. He's standing just a few feet away, arms crossed over his chest, weight on one hip, posture relaxed, and that familiar eating smirk on his lips. Keith bristles, shoulders tensing as he frowns. What are you doing here? Lance's smirk widens enough to show a silver teeth. Is that going to be our standard greeting now? Keith's eyes narrow for a moment before he turns away. I don't have time for this, grumbles, setting to work putting the display back in order. Hopes Lance would just somehow go away. He's never that lucky. And as he's already established, the universe hates him. Lance comes to his vision again, leaning his hip against the table, arms still crossed over his chest. Keith refuses to look at him. Hey, I'm not the one who knocked everything over. Not so graceful when you're not on the dance floor, huh? He glanced up, his own smirk fixing itself to his lips. You think I'm graceful, huh? He has the desired effect. Lance's eyes widen, his smirk fades, and his cheeks get a shade darker. What? No, he sputters, then looks away. Keith snorts, rolling his eyes as he goes back to his work. They're silent while he arranges the books back into their pyramid-like display. Keith can feel himself getting more and more agitated. Lance is just standing there, staring at him, and saying, why can't he just go a date without seeing this guy? When he finishes, he sighs and looks up. Lance, what are you even doing here? He tries to sound civil. He really does. But he can't quite hide all the irritation from his voice. Lance shrugs, waving a hand around. He seems to have recovered his confidence in him. What? Can a guy come to a bookstore to, look at books? He gives the flat look. No offense, but you don't exactly look like the reading type. Lance gasps, putting a hand to his chest. Why, I never! He puts a hand on his, cocking it out as he puts the other on the table and leans on it. Well, you don't look like an soul, but I guess we're both wrong, huh? He stares at him for a moment, doing a little more than blinking. He's pretty sure that was supposed to be an insult, but it also came off as half a compliment. He crosses his arms over his chest, leaning his hip against the table in the mirror of Lance's earlier position. He lets the smirk of his own curl on his lips. So, you're saying I don't look like an soul? Lance opened his mouth for a moment, then snaps it shut. His face scrunched up in concentration, looks frustrated and a little constipated. What? No, that's not what I... Stop twisting my words. Keith's smirk widens, and he can feel it in the way his cheeks rise a faction. There's a light blush across Lance's cheeks, and Keith would be lying if he said it wasn't cute against completion. Then, tell me, Lance, what do I look like? Lance's eyes narrow, lips pursing. He leans back, crossing one arm loosely over his chest and raising his other hand to rub his chin. It looks almost comical, and Keith stands there, smile never fading as he waits. He makes a lot of humming sounds before he finally nods. Like if Mel Gibson and Patrick Swayze had an Asian baby and raised it in the 80s. Keith's eyebrows go up, and he exhales a short laugh, tilting his head to the side. He says thoughtfully, I think I should probably be offended, but I'm more amused by the fact that you know so many people with mullets. Lance grins, tilting his chin down as he cradles it between his thumb and forefinger, positioned like a finger gun. He stares at Keith through half-lidded eyes that look far too smug. What can I say? I do my research. I'm that dedicated to insulting you. He rolls his eyes, but the ghost of his mouth is still there. I'm honored, he says, with the dry sarcasm he can muster. Then he turns away, heading away from the main aisle and leading back toward the bookshelves. Hey, where are you going? Lance practically yelps, someone after him. Keith glances at him over his shoulder. Why not a race? I'm working. Lance rolls his eyes, catching up to Keith and walking beside him. Well, yeah. No I got that from the whole Newport thing, he says, gesturing to Keith's shirt before gesturing to the table behind him. But weren't you just working over there? Keith nods. Yeah. And now I'm working over here. He takes a sudden turn down another aisle of books, and is only a little surprised when Lance falters and quickens his pace to catch up. He waits through the store with Lance keeping step beside him. Lance stops when he reaches the hallway that leads to the back rooms. He frowns, hands in his pockets, and shoulders slumping. Where are you going now? Keith glances back at him without pausing. Work. Shouldn't you be looking at books? Lance scowls, looking away. Yeah. He disappears in the back room, taking a moment to simply breathe. He closes his eyes, trying to center himself. He hadn't been expecting Lance to be here. He's never seen Lance here. At least, not that he remembers. Maybe he just jumping the gun a bit and Lance is actually an avid reader. And he is just here for books? Yeah, right. If that's the case, why is he following Keith around? Maybe he's here to talk about yesterday? He's talked about duos and dancing together? A strange feeling tightens in Keith's shirt, and he puts a hand to it, fingers tightening in his shirt. He frowns, feeling the weird fluttering in his gut. Oh no. No. He is not feeling hopeful. But he is. He's feeling hope. Actual hope that Lance will... No. He's not going to think about it. This is still Lance he's talking about. No matter what his intentions are, he's still an ass. An unreliable, infuriating ass. And Keith isn't going to get his hopes up for nothing. He finds one of the book carts. He's already loaded up with books that need to be restocked, and he pushes it out of the roof. He's not really sure what he's anticipating. He feels his hands tense around the handle as he steps out into the store once again. He didn't think he wanted Lance to still be there, but he can't deny that he's relieved when he is. He's standing at one of the shelves near the back hallway, a small, thoughtful frown on his face as he holds a book open in his hands. He had to have been waiting, because the second key appears, he's snapping the book shut and turns over. His small frown gone and his smirk back in place. There you are. I was starting to think maybe you got lost. He pauses, staring at him with one eye raised. I told you, I'm working. That involves going into the back room sometimes. Lance rolled his eyes, waving the book in his hand. Yeah, keep your sass to yourself, man. You know, the more I talk to you, the more I can see how you and Paige have been friends for so long. Keith feels his twitch at that, but he ignores it. He doesn't want Lance to think he's amused by everything he says. After all, he is still mad at him, and he has every right to be. He should just walk away, but something keeps him fixed to the spot. Probably curiosity. That has to be the only thing that would keep him willing in Lance's presence for this long. What are you doing? He asks. What? He nods to the book. Lance looks down at it like he had forgotten it was there at all. A faint blush creeps up his cheeks. He just shrugs, waving the book around so Keith can't properly see the cover. Oh, you know, looking at books? This is a bookstore after all. I came here to look at books. He sounds like he's floundering, despite how casual he tries to sound. Are you planning on going somewhere? He has the sneaking suspicion that he was just waiting around near the back hallway for Keith to come out, to bug him some more, probably. But he finds himself curious about what book had caught his attention. He knows nothing about Lance, except his taste in music, and that he dances. He doesn't know what kind of things could possibly catch his attention, what things he's interested in, and Keith is weirdly curious. What? Lance blinks at him, face blank. Keith gestures to the sign above the shelf that reads, Foreign Travels. Lance follows his gesture and blinks again. Oh, he looks down at the book in his hand. Then he shoves it back onto the shelf. No, I'm not. It's none of your business, he snaps. Suddenly, harsh as he glares at Keith. It's Keith's turn to stare, blinking and dumbfounded. Then he feels his face burn, lips pursing. Fine, he says, already pushing the car away. He walks as quickly as he can without actually running the store. Keith, wait! That Lance shouts, and he can hear his footsteps as he runs to catch up. Keith holds his gun and keeps his pace as he loops around. Alex. Keith, wait up! Jeez, I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean to, like, snap you, or whatever. Keith finally slows, but he tells himself it's only because he's nearing his destination. Lance comes up alongside him, and he turns to glare at him. He's not looking at him. His eyes are on the ground, with one hand in his pocket, and the other scratching the back of his neck. I was looking at the book about Cuba, he says it with an explanation that looks a little pained, a little embarrassed, and it looks like he swallowed something sour. He isn't exactly happy with him, but that damned curiosity gets the better of him. Cuba? Lance nods and looks away. Yeah. 3 of my grandparents immigrated here from Cuba when they were kids. I've never been, but I've always thought I'd be nice to see where they came from. You know, where I come from. He's quiet, and Keith feels a strange little tug at his heart at how vulnerable he sounds, like he thinks Keith is going to make fun of him. He looks away as he pulls the cartel stop close to the shelves, so he's not taking the whole aisle. That sounds really cool, he says earnestly. It must be nice to have heritage to connect to. When teasing doesn't come, Lance instantly frightens. It does, doesn't it? Keith starts picking books off the cart and turns to the shelf, looking for their counterparts, but he sneaks a sideways glance at Lance. He leans back against the shelf, hands in his pockets. His eyes are still on the ground, and a small, soft smile is playing across his lips. It's not like any other smile he's seen from him so far, and his heart clenches before he passes away. I want to take my Lita there one day. She hasn't been back since she moved here when she was still a kid. Lita? Keith asked, without looking at me, because he's not quite sure he can yet. He focuses on picking up books, reading the author's last name, and finding the rough alphabetical placement for searching for that books like it. Fortunately, stalking doesn't take much concentration, so he can focus on his conversation with Lance. Unfortunately, he can't focus on his conversation with Lance, and the fact that he's way too aware of him right now, and the fact that he's seeing a weird softer side to Lance. He doesn't like what it's doing to him. He's content with the attractive but huge soul image he added him. Lance laughs a little. Oh, right. Sorry. Lita is like our nickname for our grandma. Keith sees him shrug out the corner of his eye. It's a little childish, but I guess I still have younger siblings and stuff, so it sticks. Keith hums in acknowledgement, unsure what to say to that. He never really thought he'd talk to Lance, of all people, about family. Feels like he's gotten a small glimpse into his life that he was never meant to see, and it makes him a little uncomfortable. Still, the silence between them is getting awkward, and he knows he has to say something. He knows if he lets this opportunity to actually be civil with Lance pass, Shiro will kill him. So he starts, grabbing a couple of books and dropping into a squat so he can reach the lower shelves. If 3 of your grandparents are from Cuba, where's the other one from? He's not sure if that's a good question to ask, or if that will be too personal. But Lance snorts loudly, and Keith looks up to see him rolling his eyes and smile widely. In Scotland, he says, regardless. I mean, that part of my family has been in the States for generations, but they're originally from Scotland. But he's my dad's dad, so that's how a family of Latino kids end up with the last name McLean. He can't help himself. He laughs. Something about Lance just invites him to laugh along, just like what he observed at the park yesterday. He puts one hand on the floor and the other on the shelf in front of himself to balance himself as his shoulders shake. When he looks up at Lance, grinning, he's staring at him with a wide grin, cheeks slightly flushed. There's something in his eyes that he doesn't get a chance to decipher before he's continuing. I cannot tell you how many weird looks I've gotten when I had to fill out applications with the last name McLean, but then checking box for Hispanic. One of his hands is out of his pocket, waving around at me. He's not looking at Keith anymore, but he's still smiling. Or how many looks I've gotten when someone sees my name first, but then I show up, he says, gesturing himself. Oh my god, he says, shaking his head as he starts shelving again. Right? It's hilarious. I mean, you're lucky your last name at least fits you. He shoves a book onto the shelf and looks at him. Eyebrow raised. I'm not sure if I should consider that racist or not. Lance laughs, a little forced, but the slight blush across his cheeks remains. He looks away, one hand rubbing the back of his neck. So, speaking of last names, I gotta ask, if you and Shiro are brothers, why? Lance waves his hand around at a loss for words. Luckily, Keith knows exactly what he says. Why do we have different last names? Lance smiles sheepishly. Yeah, that. Keith shrugs, pushing himself to his feet and reaching for a couple more books off the top shelf of the cart. We're both adopted, he says it as casually as he can. It's not a big deal to him. It's just as much a part of his life as his favorite childhood cereal being Apple Jacks or the fact that he's lactose intolerant. It's just a fact about him that doesn't really have much emotional significance, but he hates telling people because they always feel weird about it. There's a long moment of silence which he expects. Then he hears Lance strangle. Oh! His voice is higher than usual, and Keith says, I didn't know, man. Keith reaches out and slaps a hand over Lance's mouth, effectively cutting him off. Lance deafens and jerks at the sudden contact, his eyes sweating, snapping over to look at Keith. Keith glares at him. I'm going to stop you right there. Don't start apologizing. There's nothing to apologize for. I was young when my birth parents died. I don't remember them. I was adopted when I was 5. They had already adopted Shiro. Our parents had us keep our birth names because they wanted us to have a connection to our ancestry or whatever. But we're no less part of the family, he says, rattling off all the answers to the usual questions. He sounds tired and bored, and he really hopes Lance will get the hint. It doesn't matter that I'm adopted because I have great parents and a great brother. Pauses, expression twisting as his lip curls. Well, sometimes he's great. Other times he's a pain in the ass. Like lately she's been a huge pain in the ass. He meets Lance's gaze. If it's even possible, his eyes have gotten even wider since he had been speaking. Keith's bottom lids twitch, gaze narrowed. I'm going to let go of your mouth now, and I don't want to hear a single word of pity or sympathy. But I'm going to find the biggest book in this store and beat you with it. Got it? Lance nods, and Keith releases him, slowly lowering his hand. He holds his gaze, silently daring him to say it. He holds Keith's gaze for a second, before looking down, then to the side, then up. His face is crunched up in an expression that looks contemplative, but it's hard to tell. When he finally looks at Keith, all that conflict is gone, and he's smirking again. So, you can give me all the blackmail material on Shiro? And at that, Keith feels a little smile tugging in his lips. Oh yeah, I got tons. Did he have braces? For 2 years. My god. Yes. I knew that sounds super to be natural. Do you have pictures of him with zits? He had the worst acne until he was 20. He had to go see a dermatologist about it. This is the best day of my life. Keith hums, a small smile on his face. He never would have thought that one of the best ways to bond with Lance was to tell embarrassing things about his brother. He can't wait to tell Shiro about this. With a couple of books in hand, he drops into a squat again and gets back to shelving. There's silence between them, but it doesn't feel as awkward and strained as it did before. That itch under his skin is gone. He's content with the silence, but it's unsurprising when Lance breaks it. Hey, I didn't mean to come here and share all this personal family info with my rival. He says it like a half apology, and Keith can tell he's about to go somewhere with this, but he can't help but point out one thing about that sentence that bothers him. I never asked to be your rival. You don't ask to be a rival. It just happens. That's how rivals work. I'm not your rival, Lance, he says, looking up to give him a last stare. Lance makes the sound and waves him off. Whatever, Keith. You can't deny our rivalry. Rivalness. Rival tooth? Rivaldom. Rivalship. He rolls his eyes and looks back to the shelf. Lance gently taps his leg with his shoe, knocking him off balance. He shoots out a hand to save himself. Lance! He says, swatting his shoe away. See? He says, grinning down at him. We have a spark. Don't deny our spark, Keith. Keith feels heat rising on his neck. He knows it has nothing to do with anger or frustration. How can Lance just say things like that without thinking about the impatience, he says. Why are you so annoying? His grin never falters. It's a gift. Did you get a gift received so you can return it? Okay, first of all, rude. Second of all, if you're going to stand around, at least make yourself useful and hand me those books off the top, he says, pointing to the cart. Hey, you can't second of all my first of all, he says. But he's already pushing off the shelf to walk around the cart. I just did, Kid says with a small smirk as he takes the books. Lance hands him. Kid finishes off, restocking and organizing the shelves in both the sci-fi, fantasy, and mystery sections. The whole time he scoots the cart along, Lance follows, either leaning against a shelf or handing Keith books when he gets to the lower shelves. The whole time they mostly talk about Shiro. Lance asks all sorts of questions. Does he drool in step? What are some embarrassing moments? Did he used to be skinny and gangly, or was he always built like that? He is more than happy to reveal all his first embarrassing memories, reliving his childhood with Shiro through Lance. Lance laughs a lot, and it does weird things to Keith's heart. He also finds it hard to look at him when he's smiling so openly, so he's glad to have an excuse of work to keep his eyes busy. At one point, he tries to get Keith to spill some of Pitch's embarrassing teenage moments, but Keith firmly refuses. There's no way in hell I'm telling you anything. I value my life. Lance is persistent though, and only switches off the topic when Keith says that Pitch has too much blackmail on him too. Unfortunately, the subject he switches to is pestering Keith about his awkward teenage moments. When he runs out of the books for this section, he checks what the next pile of books is on the cart and pushes himself to his feet. He pushes the cart through the store to an aisle that's a couple of rows over. Lance trailing behind him. He's still not sure why Lance is there, but he doesn't really mind his company. At least not right now. Are you even supposed to be wearing these? Lance says, and Keith jumps when he's suddenly close, pulling out Keith's earbud and letting it dangle over his forefinger. When Keith looks up, he's standing way too close and smiling that obnoxiously blind smile. He looks back to the shelf and shoves a book into place, shrugging. Officially? Yeah, I'm not supposed to have it. Unofficially? My managers don't care as long as I keep it discreet and still do my job, Lance talks, letting the earbud drop dangle in front of Keith's shirt. Honestly, he had forgotten all about it. He hadn't noticed when his playlist had reached the end and the music had stopped. But now, he's very aware of the fact that the only music playing is the radio station from the store's speakers. How did he not notice? He blames Lance. This guy's a distraction. I'm also not supposed to be talking to people on my ship either, he says, smirking a little as he glances over at Lance. Lance scoops, waving Keith off before putting his hands on his hips. He's self-assured and confident, and Keith isn't sure why that isn't annoying him like it usually does. No problem. If anyone comes over, you can't just say you're helping me find a book. Keith gives him a flat stare, willing his amusement to not betray him. Lance, he says, voice so blank that Lance looks at him for a moment, smile fading in his confusion. We're in the maternity section. Lance blinks, then turns his head to look at the sign above the shelves next to him. He opens his mouth, closes it, blinks, then opens it again, and lets out a smile. Oh. He laughs, unable to contain it. It bubbles out of his throat and bursts from his lips before it can stop it. He bends at the waist, one hand on the book cart. When he looks up, Lance is looking at him strangely, with a small, soft smile on his lips. He doesn't like that smile. It's too genuine, earnest, and adorable. He straightens and cuffs, clearing his throat as he turns back to the book cart. So, you don't have some books to find or browse whatever? What? Keith picked up a few books and drops into the squat, setting the books on the floor as he steadies himself with one hand on the shelf. He picks the first off the top and finds out the name, instantly scanning the shelf for its counterparts. You said you were here to look for books because this is a bookstore. Oh, heh, right. That. Lance sighs then and slides down the bookshelf until he's sitting on the ground next to Keith. He stretches one leg out in front of him and bends down, resting one arm on it. I didn't actually come here to look at books, he says, both small and hesitant. So different from what Keith is used to that it gives him pause. He glances over it, but Lance isn't looking at it. His fingers are idly fidgeting, playing with the colorful threaded bracelets around his wrist, and his eyes are locked on the motions. Keith feels a silver of anticipation slide down his spine to cool his gut. He feels suddenly nervous, and he knows it because Lance does too. You don't say? He says flatly, putting a teasing edge to his voice that he hopes will get Lance to loosen up. It works enough to make him glance up, lips twisting into a frown and eyes narrowing. When he looks away, his frown definitely looks more like a pout than anything else. Anyway, I came here to talk to you. He can't really say he's surprised. He kind of had a feeling, but he's still a little caught off guard at the sudden bluntness. He stares at Lance, but he's refusing to meet his eyes again. You did? Lance purses up scared and nods. Yeah. His face scrunched up as several emotions pass over his face. His brows are furrowed and his nose wrinkled. His upper lip is curled and it looks like he might be clenching his teeth. I wanted to apologize for, being an asshole or whatever yesterday. Keith is a little shocked. I hadn't been expecting him to just come out with it. Also, if you had asked him this morning, he would have said he never expected Lance to apologize. A huge weight that he hadn't really realized he'd been carrying is suddenly lifted from his shoulders. It feels like he can breathe again, and he feels so much lighter for it. His shoulders relax, and there's an ache there that indicates he's in a lot more teased than he thought. He smirks a little, tilting his head aside. Can you say that without looking like you're in pain? You didn't think it was possible. Lance's face scrunched up even more. No. This is causing me physical pain. Excruciating, physical, very real pain. I may need to go to the doctor after this. I may need a band-aid. I might start bleeding. He touches his nose, and then pulls his hand back to look at his fingers. Am I bleeding, Keith? Keith rolls his eyes, adjusting his weight. He sits on the ground, back to the book cart and facing Lance with his knees bent and arms wrapped around him, fingers locked in front. From this angle, everything looks so surreal. Like it's just him and Lance, with the bookshelves and the book cart surrounding them, blocking them from view, and being in a section in the corner of the store and isn't frequently visited. It's like they're all alone, despite the music and conversation, and coffee smells surrounding them. Then, why bother apologizing to me at all? There's still a teasing edge to his voice, but his voice is softer. He's honestly curious. His heart is pounding his chest. Lance helps, turning away from Keith as he moans. Because you deserve an apology. You came to talk to me, and I was an ass. And I don't want you to hate me. And he cuts himself off with a loud groan, leaning back against the shelf as he slouches a little more. He covers his face with both hands, and his voice comes out mumbled in so much of a rush that Keith can't distinguish the words. And I want you to do it with me? He blinks, trying to make sense of what he had heard, but it was honestly so jumbled that he can't. Lance is still hiding behind his hands, but his chest is suspiciously still. What? Lance's chest heaves as he breathes in a deep breath, then lets it all out in a very similar rush. It's louder, but all his words still blur together. I want you to do it with me. Keith brow furrows, his lips pursuant to a small frown. What? A whine comes from behind Lance's hands. Keith sighs, unlocking his fingers to roll forward up onto his toes before falling forward onto his knees, sitting on his heels. He's not really sure what gives him the courage to do so. Maybe it's the obvious uncertainty and embarrassment coming off of Lance's waves. But Keith reaches forward and wraps his fingers around Lance's wrist. He feels Lance stiffen, but he doesn't resist as Keith gently pulls his hand away from his face. Keith is pretty sure his heart stops. Lance is staring up at with wide, uncertain eyes. His bottom lip is caught between his teeth, and his brow is drawn scared, causing wrinkles to line his forehead. He looks almost scared, and it tugs at Keith's heartstrings. It tugs hard enough that suddenly his heart is jump-started into overdrive, and it feels like it's bruising his ribs from the inside out. Keith's mouth is suddenly very, very dry, trying to school his expression into something neutral, something that won't set Lance off, but it's hard when his body is currently trying to kill him. God, he hopes his palms aren't sweaty right now. He's not wearing his gloves. He licks his lips, trying to buy himself a couple more seconds to get himself together. Lance's eyes flickered down the movie, widened a fraction, and then snapped back up to meet his gaze. There are lines of tension in his expression that weren't there a moment ago. His eyelashes are short but dark, where they line his bright blue eyes, and his skin looks so soft and flawless. They're so close that Keith can't smell his deodorant and just Lance. He should be disgusted, or at least unaffected, but he's not. And that's kind of scaring the shit out of him. I can't hear you when your hands are in front of your face, idiot, he says, eternally grateful when his voice comes out calm and steady. Lance visibly gulps. He closes his eyes as he takes a deep breath, and opens them as he exhales alongside. His breath only shudders slightly when he meets Keith's gaze again. Keith is startled by the sudden fire there. All the nervousness he had seen before is gone. His face is set in determination and seriousness and confidence. And holy sh... it's hot as hell. He's pretty sure his heart can't take this. They can't look away. I want you to duel with me, he says, slowly and calmly. They sit like that for several long moments. Keith doesn't let go of Lance's wrist, and he doesn't pull away. Keith can't look away from his eyes, and Lance doesn't look away either. His eyes flicker back and forth between Keith searching for something. His lips are pursed slightly, and if Keith listens carefully, he can hear him breathing heavily through his nose. He wonders if Lance's heart is beating as fast as his. He doesn't know what to say. He knows what he wants to say. He knows what he wants to do. He also knows what he wants to tease Lance and put him through hell after he was an ass, after Keith tried to ask the same thing. Part of him wants to refuse altogether because he can be petty and hold a grudge, and Lance has already proven to be more trouble than what he's worth. He doesn't get a chance to say anything, however, because the sound of the throat being cleared loudly rips them both out of their daze. Keith jerks back, head whipping up to stare dumbfounded at the woman standing over them. She was smiling kindly at them, looking a little awkward. Her hands rested on a rather large belly. Sorry to, intrude, but I was hoping I could get past you two, she asked, unkindly, as she gestured to the shelf behind them. She sounded almost apologetic. Keith lets go of Lance's hand like he's been burned and scrambles to his feet. Lance is only seconds behind. Oh, yes, of course. Sorry, Keith mumbles, taking several steps back to give her space as he busies himself with fiddling with the books on the cart. As she looks over the shelves, Keith glances sideways, catching sight of Lance on her outer side. He's standing there awkwardly, one hand on his hip and the other thing rubbing the back of his neck while he turns his head away from them both. She picks a book off the shelf, gives Keith a small smile, and steps away. Thank you. Sorry again. No, it's no problem, really, he says hurriedly, and she gives him a small wave as she walks away. He watches her go, sighing before he turns to look back at Lance, who is still avoiding eye contact. Keith sighs again, running a hand through his hair. He shoves his hands in his pockets and looks down at his feet. Sure. There's a pause and then, what? Keith glances up at him through his lashes. Lance finally looking at him, expression blank and eyes wide. Keith lifts his chin, shrugging and turning to stare at the shelves. Sure, I'll do it with you. Once again, he's grateful that his voice holds and betrays none of the queasiness he feels inside. He glances at Lance out of the corner of his eyes in time to see his face morph from blank and surprised into bright and overjoyed. It's a gradual change, one that starts in his eyes and spreads out over his face like ripples. His lips slowly tugging upward, revealing white teeth and making his cheeks rise, squinting his eyes a fraction as they crinkle at the corners. Really? Keith sighs. What are you doing? Yeah, really. Lance's expression drops for a second, eyes narrowing and lips pouting in suspicion as he eyes Keith. He crosses arms over his chest. That was surprisingly easy. What's the catch? Why did you change your mind? I thought you didn't want to dance with me. I was sure I was going to have to beg. Keith felt a smirk tug at his lips. If you want to beg, by all means, go ahead. Lance's gaze narrows into slits. Keith sighs. He's been doing that a lot lately, and he fully blames Lance. He pulls his hand out of his pocket to cross his arms over his chest, fingers tapping on his upper arm. If you would have listened to me yesterday, I was going to ask you the same question, he says pointedly, enjoying the look of guilt that takes over Lance's expression. Don't get me wrong. I still think you're an ass and an idiot, but I trust Shiro, and he says you'll be able to learn my choreography and see that you're serious about this. When he's done, he watches as Lance's expression brightens again, twice as quickly as last time. So, we're doing this? We're making this happen? He sighs once more, making it loud and dramatic and silent like defeat. Hangs his head, shaking it slowly. Yes, Lance, we're doing this. And then suddenly, there's loud, wordless screaming, and Keith is being wrapped up in the tightest hug he's received in years. Arms wrapped up around him, lifting him off the ground and spinning him around as laughter fills his ears. Before he can really enjoy the warmth of it, or really get over the shock at all, he's being set down on his feet, and Lance is holding his shoulders, standing at arm's length and being at. You won't regret this. You won't. I promise. We're going to get to regionals. For sure. Lance's hands are warm and through his shirt, and it's more distracting than he wants to admit. Arms still crossed over his chest. Helps, glaring at Lance. You have to take this seriously and learn my choreography. I'll be the most serious student ever. So serious that the Joker will be questioning me. So serious that I'll jump into the veil. He refuses to smile. He does. He refuses. You can feel it. He holds it back. And you have to learn my choreography. No complaining. Got it? He's nodding. Got it. No complaining. He steps forward and wraps Keith up in another hug. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. You have no idea what this means to me. Being awkward, he unfolds his arms and tenderly wraps them around his back. He puts them there lightly, but he's not sure it's enough, so he gently pats him on the back. Is that weird? It's probably weird. He's way too aware of this hug for it to feel natural. Even when he's being nice, Lance has a way of getting under his skin. Why did Keith agree to this again? Yeah, No problem, he says. Feeling both grateful and disappointed when Lance pulls away. They step back from each other. Lance shoves his hands in his pockets, and Keith crosses his arms over his chest. The sound is almost unbearable. So he says the only thing he can think to say, a question that he's been bugging him for days. So, if regionals is such a big deal, why did you miss all auditions? At that, Lance's face drops. It's so instant that he immediately regrets asking a question. Lance glances away and shrugs. Oh, that. My niece broke her arm and I had to take her to the hospital. Keith blinks. That isn't what he was expecting. Oh, he's not sure what to say, so he tries. I'm sorry. Lance shrugs again, looking up and smiling sheepishly. It's fine. She's fine. I convinced her having a cast is cool because people can sign it and stuff. I even told her I wish I had broken something so I could have a cast. He chuckles offhandedly, waving up. But anyway, now I've still got a second chance to get in, yeah? So, it's all good. At that, he lets himself smile. Yeah, all good. For a moment, they simply stand there, staring and smiling. In such a soft moment that Keith is certain Lance can feel his heart pounding in his chest. But then, the moment is broken by the child screeching, Lance! 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 Lance winces, giving Keith a look that almost apologized before taking a few steps forward until they side to side. Over here, Leo! He calls. Within seconds, a small voice kid still stopped at the opening of the aisle, spies Lance, and runs straight toward him. As he reaches him, Lance sidesteps, bends down, and wraps his arms around the boy's middle, lifting him off his feet and into the air. Holds the boy on his hip, legs flaying in front of him, and aims flaying behind him. Put me down! He demands. Lance, put me down! Lance tastes his tongue. What have we told you about yelling and running in the stores? The boy goes slamming the beat. Hang on. Not to do it, he mumbles. Lance nods and steps him down on his feet. Then suddenly there's a girl there, speed walking to catch up to them. Her hair is pulled back into a high ponytail and he recognizes them from earlier. Now they can see her face. She looks just like Lance. Their noses are a little different, and the shape of their jaws, their eyes, and the tilt of their mouths are the same. Sophie? Weren't you supposed to be watching him? She scowled, crossing her arms over her chest and cocking her hip out to the side. There is a book in her arms, but Keith can't see what it is. I was. Then he took off trying to find you. You said you will be quick. Why are you here? She asked, raising an eyebrow as she reads over the sign that says maternity. Lance's cheeks redden and his face screws up as he mirrors her stains. I was just talking to Keith here, he says defensively, jerking a thumb over his shoulder toward Keith. Her eyes slide to him, looking him up and down. Her brows knit curiously, but it's Leo who asks, who is he? At that, Lance's signature smirk is back. The one Keith hates. Then Lance is throwing an arm over his shoulder. He can quite bring himself to hate it this time. Keith is my dancing partner for regionals, he announces proudly. He gestures to the others. Keith, this is my little sister, Sophie, and a little brother, Leo. Both Sophie's eyes going up. I thought people hated dancing with you. Excuse. Lance? The boy is tugging at Lance's shirt, holding up a book. He recognized the words. Percy Jackson. Look, I picked up a book and it's awesome! He waves to Sophie behind him. And Sophie's got a book too! That's great, Nerdling, Lance says, ruffling to his brother's hair. Leo's eyes narrow suspiciously as he looks Lance over. Where's your book? He rubs the back of his neck. I didn't find one. Lance, you said if I got a book, you would get a book. I I know, but what's the matter, Lance? I thought you were an avid reader. Smirking sideways at Lance, Keith glares at him, then points at his face. I don't need your sass, he hisses, and Keith chuckles, covering his mouth as Lance turned back to his brother. I just didn't find one yet. I don't know, it was good. Maybe next time. I can make a suggestion, he says suddenly, drawing the attention of all three of them. He feels his face heating up. He hadn't really meant to say anything, but Lance had gotten him relaxed, and it was habit to help customers out with books. So he decides to roll with it. Yeah? Lance asked, eyebrows raised. He turns away from him to hide the heat rising on his neck. His ears feel warm. Yeah, follow me. Without turning to see if they're following, he weaves between aisles to the other side of the store, into the sci-fi section. Here, he slows down, walking past shelves with his eyes scanning the book spines so it gets to the A's. He pulls out the book and turns to hold out to Lance. He takes it hesitantly, eyebrows raised as he reads the cover. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Seriously? Was this made to a movie? He nods and taps the book cover. Yeah, but the book is much better. It's one of my favorites. I think it's goofy enough to hold your attention. Lance's eyes narrow, but there's a smile curling his lips. I don't know whether to be insulted or flattered. He shrugs. He can feel his own smirk. It can be both. Lance, I'm hungry, Leo says, tugging at Lance's shirt. Can we get food on the way home? Lance snorts and ruffles his hair. You know, Mama will kill us if we're not hungry for dinner. How about a milkshake? The little boy's eyes brighten, looking so much like a young Lance when he smiles. He's missing a couple of teeth and his hair is shorter, but Keith can definitely see the resemblance. Yes. Alright, let's go pay for these books. The boy is already walking off, Sophie following him after sending a curious and sharp look over her shoulder at Keith. Her lips curved into a small smile that reminds him far too much of Hitch for him to feel comfortable. Lance turns back to him, bringing Keith's attention back to him. I'll see you tomorrow, yeah? Yeah. Keith says with a small nod. He catches himself, fidgeting and fingers plucking at his pants. So he crosses his arms over his chest. We need to start practicing if we're going to do this. Answers. Oh, we are. Keith smirks, tilting his head to the side. Yeah, if you think you can keep up. Lance laughs. Oh, is that a challenge? Keith doesn't hesitate. Yeah, it is. Lance smirks, tilting his chin downwards as he leans forward slightly to gaze up at Keith. He's already walking backwards. Lance answers. Bring it, mullet, he says. Voice low and playful. His hand shivers right down Keith's spine. Then Lance laughs, turns on his heel, and walks away. He waves the book in the air over his shoulder. Thanks for the book! Keith spends the rest of his shift with a small smile playing across his lips. It apparently makes him approachable enough that several people come up to him to ask for help. He blames Lance. It was a very, very fascinating chapter that I have read. It's basically a Pidge and Hunk trying to convince Lance to wanted to say an apology and wanted to bring back Keith and Lance to dance together for starting the duo and going to regionals. Lance did that and apologized to Keith about what's been happening, and Keith said yes. Now they're dancing together. And then sharing out the stories, what they're doing. It was so wonderful. And you can feel like that the relationship between Lance and Keith, you can't break it. You can't break them. Seriously. Okay guys, that is the end for another chapter of Shut Up and Dance With Me. I'm gonna see you guys next time for another chapter I'll see you back in a bit. Goodbye, everybody.